Good morning. Hold on, let me add everyone in here.
Good morning.
There we go. Good morning. How are
Hi.
you? Let me move over here. How's everyone doing this morning?
Good.
Good.
It's cold, but good.
I
So I'm all
know.
bundled
I
up.
know.
Oh, poor Ella. Always cold. Ella has
I
been
know.
like in this igloo state for a long time. So, with the with being in where you live and everything, it's a lot. So,
Mm.
Yeah. We got some other fellow Michigan uh folks in the fandom and they feel my pain. So, I'm just blocked in to my apartment. It's not a big deal. Not a big
listen,
It's
deal.
fine.
So,
It's
we had three
fine.
we had
yeah,
three
it's all good.
days of ice here, and I that's it's all melting now, and that was too much for me. So I can't imagine living there.
Yeah.
I can't imagine living there. So no, you're much stronger than me. I always told you that when the zombie apocalypse comes, I'm dying in the first episode. So
I won't let you die. That's the problem is
no,
that
please let
by
me
becoming friends
die.
with no, by becoming friends with me, you're swearing you're like writing a contract that you'll have to survive. So,
Okay, all right, we'll see about that.
You're gonna
Anyways,
like carry the like figurine of Nibbles with you, like
that's right. Yeah,
as like a keepsake of him. Like
yeah.
that's the one thing that's gonna go with me is that. Well, it's good to see you. And you, Lauren, you doing okay? You got your Red
yeah, I'm
Bull?
good. I have my Red Bull. I'm ready to go. This is my not sponsored by Red Bull, by the way, but this is my quintessential morning routine right here. So there you go. I'm ready.
All right. Well, I'm excited. I need to yeah, I know my monitor's in the shot. I have to like adjust the camera. I'm sorry. Hold on. It's just that this camera is so sensitive that
Yeah.
it'll it like I have to put it far away. This it's my iPhone camera. I'm trying something new so that we don't have to have all that weird focus issue. Okay, that's better, right? Is that better?
Mhm.
Okay, I think that's better.
Hmm.
Anyway, sorry about that.
I saw the stream last night where you were showing your haiku notebook, and I love it so much. It's so cute.
Oh.
Thank you.
It's adorable.
I got
All
it here.
right,
I'm ready for
so
it's ready for proportions. So,
it's ready for proportions.
Hmm.
So today's going to be a really fun one. This is a fun one and an important one. I talked about this yesterday that I would I would say that on top of almost almost above structure, we mentioned this yesterday that proportion is so important beyond that because you can always fix structure, but if your drawing is out of proportion, it's a much bigger problem, right? If your proportions are wrong, like then everything it's a bigger mess. Why? Because with structure, hey, if your arm is drawn wrong, you can kind of adjust that. But if the proportions of your character, which are measured by number of heads, that's how we do character design. It's like how many heads tall, and you've probably heard this term before. This character is this many heads tall. We're going to go over all that today, and I'm going to show you guys how that works, and we're going to talk about the importance of it and how to properly measure that and everything. So it's going to be a lot of fun, and we're going to see why it's important, and it will make a dramatic difference in your own drawing if you pay attention to proportion. If you start going like, oh, that's why every time I draw, it's never the same. A lot of times it's because it's the proportions are being missed. You're not paying attention to that. So we're going to look about that today. Before we start, want to welcome everyone to the show. Thanks for being here. Thanks for everyone yesterday who joined for day one of the training arc, and all of you guys who joined the new Patreon tier. Welcome. For we're gonna have a lot of fun with that. Our Discord is open, and we'll kind of drop that throughout the thing. So during these events, we always open up our Discord for new friends to come in and join our really awesome community. We have some really awesome people in here. And if you're looking for a place to make new friends and RP and tell stories and all sorts of fun stuff, you are in the right place. Ella, am I missing anything before we get started?
no, I think we could get started at the end. We might do run down our list of announcements. We do have a Kickstarter going on. And I'll put the link here in the description. It opens tomorrow, so it's sort of like Christmas Eve for us today. We're very excited and very like it's a really big deal for us. So we're kind of jittery today. It opens literally like tomorrow morning, so we're very excited about it. By the time we're here tomorrow, it should be open, which will be exciting. So you're gonna want to be here for that. And then tomorrow night we've got like a big kind of like launch party. So I'll put the link here if you want to follow it and get on board first, just so that you can make sure you get the rewards and stuff that you want when it opens tomorrow. So it's a big deal. And yeah, just thanks to everybody real quick who joined the Patreon tier, which is RC doing an art course with me as a complete beginner. I've already started to post stuff in our new Discord channel and things like that. So I'm really excited. All of that is really going to be going into full swing next week in the first week of February. So really exciting. So
That's
that's it. That's all
awesome.
I got.
And look, the king sent us some love. Thank you. Thank you,
Oh,
King.
thanks,
That's really
Beast
awesome. It's
King.
very, very sweet of you. So we really appreciate that. Always one of our huge supporters, and we appreciate all
I
that.
hope the prince is also doing okay.
Who's the prince today? Which cat is going to be the prince today is the question.
Yeah.
All right. All right. So I'm going to switch over and let's get started. Okay. So we've got some familiar friends here with us. Can you guys see my screen okay?
Let me
know
see.
once. Just let me know in the chat if you guys can see
Yeah.
everything okay.
Yeah, looks good to me.
Okay. So let me get this here. Okay, so we've got here Deku and All Might. A really great example of proportions for a number of reasons for us to use. And I think once I start showing you this, you are going to start looking at things very differently. You're going to look at shows that you like very differently. You're going to look at characters you like very differently. And more importantly, you're going to look at your own artwork differently, because you're going to see, oh, I understand why I'm, my art, like every time I draw the character, it looks different, et cetera, et cetera. The proportions create a framework for you to draw your characters and draw them consistently. So I'm going to dim. Let's do this. I'm going to take All Might off for just a second, and I'm going to dim Deku for a second. And actually, the way that proportions are done is you choose, you work with the head. Remember yesterday we ended, for those of you who stayed through the whole thing, yesterday we talked about there's different parts of you have the soft parts of your body and the hard parts of your body, right? And the hard parts is structural, like your head, like your skull, things like that. Those don't change, right? They don't, bless you. They don't change.
Sorry.
There's no problem. They don't change. They don't, your head does, your skull does not expand or contract or whatever. It's generally the same. Your skin and everything around, your skin, your hair, everything around you, otherwise built on top of the skeleton, will change. Why is this important? Well, when you're going to pick a position of reference, that position of reference can't change. It has to be something that's always constant, right? Otherwise, everything relative to that point will also change, right? So a mistake that some people make when we're talking about heads, like how many heads tall something is that they will look at the size of the whole head. So Deku's a great example here. Deku's got this amazing thick hair, right? That takes a pretty large chunk of his head. The problem is that Deku's hair is not always going to be like that, right? Like if he gets splashed with water, if he has bedhead, whatever, his hair will change, right? And so the proportions of his head changes. So using this as a basis for proportions, let me get my pen here. Using this as a basis for your proportion, like the entire head, is problematic, and I'm going to explain more on top of it until you really get this point. There's one thing that I love about math, for example, is that in math, decimals can make such a big difference, right? It's like, oh, that's just 0.25 more than, 1. Well, 0.25 is a lot, right? That's 25% difference, right? And so every time you have a decimal difference, it adds up, right? So in this case, if we look at Deku's head right here, if I were to reverse engineer his head to find out where his head actually is, it's probably here. And I might be pushing the skull a little too much. It's probably about here. If he were to shave his head off, this is where his head would be, approximately, right? So when we look at this mathematically, it's almost, I mean, it's pretty much almost a third of his head is hair, right? That's a big deal. That's a really big deal, because if your hair is, if you're like, oh, well, it doesn't matter, I'm going to base it on the head. Okay, well, let's see what happens when we do that. So right here, when we look at him with based on his head, how many heads tall is he, Lauren, based on this? Can you see? I know
Oh
it might be a little
God.
delayed. I don't know if you can. I've already put it on the screen, so
Okay, there you go.
it might be delayed. But how many heads
Yeah,
do
so
you
he's
see?
like 4.5-ish.
Four and a
Yeah.
half, if you include the hair, right?
Yeah.
But that's not correct. And so why? Because we've included the hair. And I'm just going to do this little example here, that if we were to do it this way, we would say, okay, well, his head is 1. Oops, hold on. We would say right here, 1. Then we would say kind of like his torso is like 1.5, I guess, 1 1/3, something like that. And then here it would be 2, right? It's kind of weird proportions to do it this way, right? Based on his hair. But if we do it the right way, right, where we take the hair off, watch what happens. So we're going to take the heads off here. Where is it? Okay. And now we're gonna go with the proper heads. How many would you guess? So we did the wrong one. How many, just looking at him, how many heads tall do you think he is? Properly done.
6. What did we say? 4.5 with the hair.
With the hair,
So
which is wrong, right? So what?
yeah,
So
so
6. What do you think, Lauren?
6 to 7.
What do you think, Lauren?
I don't know. I feel like he's shorter than that. I want to say maybe like, well, okay, yeah. I'm gonna say like 5, maybe 6.
Okay, let's
I
see.
think
So
6 is the answer.
we're gonna count down. So let me get him into a place where we can see him properly. Okay.
Everybody's saying 5, so I think I'm wrong. I feel like I'm wrong.
Okay, let's see.
No.
Let's see. Let's see. All right. So we've got. Oh, I need to dim him. Hold on. Okay. Let me make this easier for you to see. Sorry, 1 second. Okay. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. From the top
Wow.
of the head to the heel, and that's how you do it. From the very top of a bald head to the heel is 6 feet, 6 heads. Sorry, and
There
so
you go.
now proportion does not equal height, and you guys have to understand this. Is that proportion, because he's 6, you could be. Think of other giant creatures. Think of like trying to think of another giant creature that would not have that same kind of like it, just because
Like
you could be giant. Okay, I'm going to use like this random old reference, the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man from Ghostbusters. I don't remember what his proportions are, but you know, he may have actually similar proportions in Deku. That doesn't mean that they're the same height. Proportion is relativeness, right? What everything is relative to a point of reference, which is the head. So here, this is the proper, and you see how when we do it properly, the addition of his hair created a huge, you know, discrepancy in the math, right? Of how many heads tall he was. So when you're setting your character's height, do it this way. Find their head with no hair, just the base hair, and then do the math on that. Now you're going to find that for most like anime shonen protagonists, they all pretty much share a similar proportion count. And I'll show you a couple here. And it's just because it's the most like, it's just close enough to realism, but not, you know, so it kind of creates this cool but cute kind of like aesthetic to it. And that's why most of them use it. So if we look at others, like we were talking about Senku yesterday, right? Who we were looking at some of his art. Look, similar, exact, I mean, it's literally the same proportions, right? Even if we pull Ed up, Ed is shorter than them canonically, at least at a certain point, but he's got the same proportions. All right, so you can look at all of them, they share the same. And so it's really important to note that, you know, when you study that, you're going to see those patterns, and there's a reason for it. There's a reason why it's so prevalent, and it's because of that. Hugo shares the same proportions, right? It is purposely designed that way. And so when you do that, when you're picking, just pick what your proportions are, right? That doesn't mean this is the right proportion, right? Just because he's 6 heads tall does not mean that that's what you have to make everything. I'm just showing you something that's commonly done. You know, Sonic the Hedgehog is probably about 3 heads tall, probably.
Yeah.
You know?
The Powerpuff Girls are probably like what, 2?
2? Yeah. The Powerpuff Girls are literally chibi proportion. Chibi proportions are 2 heads tall, right? So they're literally chibis in that case. And it's funny because I have a Deku chibi here, a rough one that I did to show you. That's kind of funny, but just to show you, when you look at Deku over here, I know it might take a second to update on your screen, but you can see here that when I shrink his body to fit into one headspace, you can basically see that why chibis work the way they do, right? Is that the whole head takes one, and then the body takes the rest of the proportion. So that's super important for you to understand. So so notice that pattern, and actually, you know, if you look at each one of these, like go look at other anime protagonists, go draw over them, you know, draw over them and do what I did. Find their head and then trace the number of heads down. And it has to be, look, you can't have any space, all right? Like, look here at Deku, like, it's like chin to head, right? There's no like, oh, gaps or whatever, because all those decimals that I told you will add up to incorrect proportions later. So you want to make sure that that's correct when you're doing it. So this serves a really good, when you're designing your character, when you know what their proportions are, it makes it easier for you to draw them. So to construct them. So let me take Ed and Senku away. Let's go here and start looking at some more, some construction stuff. Let's see if I got this right here.
I can't wait to see Ella's notebook that's just going to have a bunch of like head like sketches next to it.
Oh man. Right now it's filled with side profiles, so it'll be good to have some structure in there. So I think that it's craving structure.
Remember earlier when we were talking about, when I had mentioned that when we use the head method, when we use the hair incorrectly to determine his proportions, remember his proportions were all a mess, like 1 3/4, like it was like such a mess, right? When you do it properly, look what difference it makes. So now we're doing it properly. His head is 1 head, his torso is basically 2, and his pelvis and legs are 3. Isn't that beautiful? Look how beautiful and simple that is. 1 2 3.
Love.
Right? That's 1 2 3. That's how you remember it. So when you're working on your character and you understand their proportions, it's easier for you to be able to keep them consistent because you can always remember. And sometimes you'll notice when I'm drawing, if you ever see me doing delays or I'm like looking or what, there's a lot of tests that are going on in my mind as I'm drawing. There's proportion tests, there's like structure tests, there's all these tests that are going on, and I'm making adjustments. Sometimes I'll draw, like yesterday when I was drawing that Hugo coming out of the rift thing, that that drawing at first was out of proportion. That's why I kept making changes to it, because he was like pretty built. Like I was like, okay, wait a minute, I'm making this too built. He's way off proportion, and I kept having to like shave him down until he got to the right size. That could have been avoided. I was more freehand drawing that than I was using structure. And when you structure, a lot of times that can help you solve the proportion problem up front. And because when you use the structure, and I'll show you in a moment what that means, it makes a big difference in kind of keeping you constrained to those proportions at the beginning. What I demonstrated yesterday by having to keep making changes to Hugo was the fact that the importance of proportion, right, Lauren? That's like exactly what I was talking about. I was not following
no,
my
I know.
proportion, and you know what happened? I had to keep going back and drawing and drawing and drawing, and which should be a reminder to all of you is that no matter who the artist is or whatever, we all can make mistakes. We all forget to do
Because
certain rules or
the
whatever.
thing is that the proportions are part of your building blocks. Like the rest of your piece is going to look off or weird if you like don't have your proportions right.
Absolutely.
That's your cake.
It's true, because if it's off, like something as simple as you know, and arms and legs and everything have proportions too. I'll demonstrate that in a second. Your feet could be bigger on your character than they should be, or smaller. All these proportions matter. Like when we look here at Deku, for example, his proportions, you can see that, you know, they use these kind of chunky proportions that a lot of I like using these kind of proportions too. Quick side note, yesterday I was teaching about the 90-degree rule. I want to kind of demonstrate something here, that this is a canon drawing, right? This is from the show, but I want to show you that this drawing, it actually has a problem. It's actually off. Because when we were looking at yesterday, this is just a little side quest here, but I want to show you using these little things I teach you. Here's his wrist. Here's his shoulder. If we do the 90-degree rule, this is where his elbow should be. And this bothered me from the beginning because I kept seeing
see
this
it
drawing.
now.
You see it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's off.
You said it and I saw it immediately.
You see it immediately, right? And it's you know, it's those kind of things, knowing rules like that. I instantly, when I first saw this drawing, instantly I saw it. Like I instantly saw it because my brain is trained to look for those things. And this is a relatively easy fix, right? This is a relatively easy fix. We just move the arm. Move the elbow. Right? That's all we do to fix that.
His other elbow looks right, too.
It is, yeah. And the reason, here's another proportion thing. So you're now bridging me back into proportion. Why is it right? Well, let me show you. Hold on. So the reason why it's right is that another rule that exists with body proportions, and all these are kind of general, typical, right? Again, like I told you guys yesterday, it's not about everything being like an exact rule. These are like guidelines, right, to use. So for typically, if you were to stand up right now and hold your arm to the side of your body, your middle finger should reach about halfway down your thigh, right? That is the proper, that is like normal general human proportions. That's not everyone. Some people are longer, shorter, but generally, right? That's how it should be.
So you're saying I have really short arms, so mine don't do that.
So
but
generally it should be that, right? Generally, but that you use that in design this way, right? Now, Ella pointed out, oh, his other arm looks right. Well, why does it look right? Well, let's take a look at this. So I kind of, when we look real quick at the heads again, let me pull these arms. Okay, you notice here I added these two heads here to show you that his arms, his appendages can also be, you know, referenced by head length, right? You use the head as a basis for everything. Well, his arms are 2 heads tall, right? So let me take that off for a second here. And we're going to start looking at some of his. Okay, So with that basis, when we look at his, I'm going to draw over this. Okay, so when I draw over this now, let's take a look at his construction. So we know his head is here. So we've got his head here. And Ella, I'm going to come back to your point in a second. This is going to lead to your point. So we've got his head. We've got his neck. We've got his rib cage. Shoulders. Oops. Spine. Pelvis, generally here. Okay, so when we look at his arm, here's his wrist right here. Here's the shoulder. If we were to roll these fingers out, actually I need to draw his legs first. So if we draw out his thighs.
It is
And
crazy
remember,
how fast you can do this.
oh, well, it's all practice. Thank you. I used to not be fast.
It's awesome. No,
thank
it's
you.
great.
When we look at his legs, now remember, quick thing, when you're doing the proportions, it's to the heel, okay? Like some people may be like, oh, but wait, what about 6.5 to the tip of his toe? That's not the bottom of your body doesn't roll out to the tip of your toes. It's to the bottom of your heel, okay? So we go to the bottom of his heel. So when we're looking here, when we look at his arm, roll this out, and then we've got his hand here. If I were to roll out these fingers so that they're just like, you know, not curled up into a what do you call it? Into a fist next to his thigh. We've got his finger here. Well, look, it goes exactly halfway down his thigh. And that's what Ella saw. She saw that, you know, she saw that it looked correct. And the thing is, we as humans, regardless if you're an artist or not, we see humans all the time, right? Obviously, in our daily life. So our brains know what standard human construction looks like, right? Subconsciously, you know what a human looks like. And so that's why if you see, you know, when you see a drawing and it's not, and something is off, you're like, I don't know what it is. It's usually because subconsciously your brain knows the pattern of how a human is constructed and something is not fitting that pattern. And you may not realize it because it's all like subconscious programming, right? But I'm bringing that programming to the surface and showing you why you see those things. So when we saw here his arm, which was not constructed properly, it's because in this particular case, the 90-degree rule right here was being violated, right? And that is a rule. Now, that's a rule, obviously, if you're doing Adventure Time, one of these shows that everyone has like noodly arms and whatever, of course, that doesn't apply. But if you're trying to draw something within that spectrum that I showed you guys, where it's like generally anatomically correct, then you have to follow the 90-degree rule. Otherwise, it looks broken. It doesn't look right. So in this particular image here, I was showing you that by doing the 90 degrees, we know that the fix is right here. All I'd have to do is, okay, well, I'll just erase this arm and put the elbow right here, and we've got it fixed.
Now I can't imagine Deku without thinking about one of his arms, like one of his elbows hanging down by his hip, and the other one like up where it's supposed to be.
It's just weird.
Yeah. Because if he put it down, it would be like really far down.
Right, that's true. So you see, by doing this, like these construction. Now, if we were to go, now we haven't learned. This little training arc is too short for me to go into everything, obviously. But normally, if we were to apply construction to all this, and you probably have seen me in, not probably, if you've been watching the live streams, you've seen me drawing boxes and things when I'm building. So sometimes you'll see this, like I'll be drawing a head, and you'll see I draw a cube, right? And then, I put the head in there. Well, the reason I draw the cube is for a couple reasons. One is it creates kind of scaffolding. I'm gonna get super nerdy again, but like anyone who's like watched like Star Trek, like whenever they build like the starships in space, they're usually built in these like space docks that kind of like surround the ship. It's like scaffolding. Like when you build a skyscraper, there's usually like scaffolding around it and stuff. That's part one. But the second part is proportion, because once I see the head reduced to like a cube like this, I know I start thinking in proportions, right? So now this cube equals one head. So when I go to draw the chest, for example, I know that chest, if I'm drawing Deku, needs to probably be about two heads tall, right? Or whatever the proportion is in that case. It's two heads for him, right? So then we know that I can fit his head in this other structure here. So that means that I'm more likely to have drawn him in proper proportion because I've drawn his chest the same number of, like I could put this cube in here 2 times stacked on top of each other is what I'm trying to say, right? So by doing that, I know that he will come out generally the right proportions. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So when
Yes.
we're looking at him here, let's go, and when we break down his construction again, so we've got his head here. And a lot of times you'll see me do it. The reason I do the crosses, I get asked, well, why are you drawing the cross? So the crosses help me find the center of the box. Anytime you use those crosses, one of the best inventions ever, right? If you draw like this parallelogram, whatever polygon over here, I can find the center by doing these crosses. Because you're like, well, where's the center when it's like that? Well, if I do this, I can generally find where the center of it is. So when I do that, it helps me find the center of the cubes. And that's just for me to get, a certain level of accuracy when I'm doing the design. So we've got this box here, which will contain his chest. And then we've got a box for his pelvis. So we can kind of see, you see how this box right here, the torso box.
Look who it is. Oh my goodness.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was like, what? I didn't see the cat.
Sorry.
So I was like, what?
Sorry. Oh, no,
I go, what did I didn't know what you were talking. I was like,
he wants to learn.
Did I unveil a layer or something? I go, what did I do? Kitty, all right.
You're like panicking.
Kitty break. Well, this is actually a good time during the kitty break to say, hi, I'm RC. If you're just joining us, I'm the creator of Flux Destiny. Welcome. This is day 2 of the training arc. It's nice to have all of you here. If you're new, our Discord is open. We usually open it during these events that we do every month. So you're totally welcome to come in. Normally, you'd have to like either get a Discord pass or get one of our products, but you can go in for free. Now it's open. So we love inviting new friends in during this time. We have a really cool Discord community. Want to welcome you there if you're not already in there. And we've got all sorts of cool stuff going on. So I hope you join us. We also have on Patreon, our free Patreon tier has all sorts of cool resources on it. So I encourage you to join the free Patreon because we have events and stuff that are specifically for Patreon, including free members too. So be sure to check that out. Kitty. All right. So
I'm sorry to confuse everyone.
You totally confused me. I was like, what? Like, what is she talking about? All right. So, okay. So does this make sense? Do you have any questions about this? Ella?
No, it makes sense.
Makes sense?
It's great.
Yeah.
All right, so now that we've kind of done this run through of proportions with Deku here, and we've gone through this exercise, let's now apply that to All Might. Okay, if we look at All Might over here, now we determined that Deku was 6 heads tall. Oh my God, your cat's doing airplane ears, and I can't. I'm so distracted.
Yes.
Okay, he's gone. Good. All right, cute. Okay, so we determined that All Might is. We determined that Deku is 6 heads tall, right? So now we are in the same universe. We've got a character who has completely different proportions, and that's okay because the question is, oh, does everyone have to have the same proportion? No, right? Your characters can all have different proportions. Proportions are unique to the character, right? So you may have like a common design language in terms of like how your proportions work in your universe, but all your characters can have different proportions. So let's take a guess. I want you guys to take a guess on how many heads All Might is. So I'll let the chat guess, and then Ella and Lauren can each take a guess.
Okay, well, if we're comparing him to Deku, I'm gonna say like 9. That's my guess.
9?
Final
Okay.
answer.
What do you think, Ella?
11.
11. Okay.
Oh.
All right. Yeah. Let's see what happens. Let me turn all these off. Oh, well, it's already. No, don't look. Sorry. It wasn't supposed to happen immediately.
Spoilers.
Hold on.
Spoilers.
Wait, I don't want you to see. Hold on. I wanted to be able to count it. Hold on. Let me turn these off. Always something around here. Okay, here we go. Let me dim him, and then let's count together here. How many heads tall he is? 1.
Oh, you know what? Yeah.
What?
Sorry. Anyway. No, I just forgot that we were that it was the size of All Might's head and not Deku's head.
Oh, yeah. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 and a half. 9.5 heads.
We're close.
Close.
That was pretty close.
Close, yeah.
But I think Ella gets to go to the showcase showdown because she got it underneath it. So Price is Right.
Price is
no
right.
one knows
Price
anything.
Is right.
None of you know anything. Price is right. Come on. Okay. So so look, you see how many heads? And what does that do when we look at his body entirely? When we take his entire body into consideration, well, how does that break down? That means his head is obviously 1 head. His torso is 3 heads. And then his pelvis and legs are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5.5 heads.
But it's still pyramids.
It's what?
It's still like a pyramid.
Yeah. I mean,
exactly.
The only time that, I mean, you could have, I guess you can have any proportions you want, honestly. If you have characters who are short legs, or a huge head, or, you could, I mean, I guess you could do whatever. But it's always going to be based on the head itself. So the key is when you are creating your characters, what you need to do is, and if you don't know, so just like some tips on this, if you don't know, okay, well, I don't know what I want. Well, go find the drawings that you liked the best, right? Go find the drawings that you like the best. And you're like, well, what if it's a half drawing? Well, finish it, right? You don't have to finish it like perfect. Like if you've got a half body of your character and I really like how the top of the body looks, okay, then just quickly sketch what the rest of it might look like, right? And then go and do the head count and find out how many heads tall that is, right? And then lock that so that next time when you're drawing, if suddenly their torso is 3 heads versus 2, well, you'll know why the character's not looking the same every time. There's so many other artists I've helped with this because they they were, and I used to have this problem a long time ago too, was that not paying attention to the proportion. And I was like, God, the characters look different every time. It was because of that, right? So the head is the basis of everything. And so it's very simple to look at it from that term. Just say, head, Hugo is 6 heads tall, right? So he's going to have, and Marco's a little taller than him.
Mm-hmm.
So Marco has a slightly different proportions because of that. But I know that because of his proportions. So just pick your proportions and then apply them. And when you do that, you're going to run into less problems later when you're drawing the character, because they won't like be off or be like, what's wrong? Sometimes if a character, like I mentioned Hugo, if I draw him too muscular by accident, it's probably a proportion problem. So that's proportions. Any questions? Any thoughts, Lauren? Ella, what do you want to talk about?
Well, just for, something that I have kind of learned from my experience is that usually the more, I guess, oh gosh, I'm trying to think of how to say this. The more, like, I guess, heads that you have to body ratio, the proportion, usually the more realistic the art style
Yes.
is.
And then you kind of cross a valley though. Like once you go past a certain amount, then you get into like early 90s anime where everyone was super leggy and
right, but then it's like, yeah, then you get into like JoJo's Bizarre Adventure
right, exactly.
territory, and then it's like, oh, okay.
But generally, what you're saying is true. Generally, what you're saying is true. The more heads, up to a certain point, the more realistic. Deku right here is just borderline realistic. Like if you were to put a real teenager next to him, the teenager is probably going to have an extra head. Will probably be a 1 head taller. Like real teenagers who were his, and adults sometimes, teenagers, adults, whatever, they all have like, maybe 7 heads tall, but it's just enough to be realistic, but also stylized and aesthetic, right? So
for Flux Destiny, for like Hugo and Marco, you chose kind of the more anime style.
I chose it on purpose.
Now, I don't know if like there's any characters right now, but is there any characters that you're thinking of or anything that you've already drawn that are going to be kind of different purport? Like, oh, they're going to be super huge or maybe a little bit more exaggerated or something like that? Or do you think that they're all going to be kind of like this? Do you feel like they're all going to be
others that are, there's certain like escape artists who are going to have different proportions that'll be like really, big jacked guys. Some of them will be, there's also payback creatures that will have really cool proportions. So in a world like Flux Destiny, you're going to have all sorts of different proportions because of karmastry and things that you can do with it. So there'll be a whole array of it. But the thing about Flux Destiny is that the basis of the world is realistic, right? Like they live in a generally realistic place, but all this, and it's on purpose so that the powers will stand out, right? It's like magic again. It's like our world. If everyone in our world suddenly had karmastry, it would look really amazing because we live in this kind of mundane world that we're used to, but then powers stand out against it, right? So that's a purposeful design choice for that.
So I don't want to put you on the spot, but we have a little bit of time left. Okay. Well, I don't want to put you on the spot, but what would you say something like Lucky's proportions would be? I know he's a Clockbot, so his proportions are a little bit different. I don't want to have to make you draw Lucky, but I just am interested in your process, like with different, like, because All Might is so different than Deku, and our Clockbots are so different in proportion. Now I know they're bots, so they could just kind of be whatever, but
So Clockbots have heads too, right? So but the thing is, because they're I guess I just have to show you. I mean, Lucky would be very similar to like All Might in terms of proportion. I mean, I wouldn't even have to draw it. It's very similar to All Might in terms of proportion. He's probably taller than All Might. All Might's probably like what, 7 feet tall?
Yeah.
Lucky's like
he's pretty big.
So so he, but that doesn't matter. Remember, proportion doesn't equal height, right? So proportion is just relative size of objects to one another. the the height is different. They can have similar proportions, but if I were to draw Lucky, he would probably his head would be probably a foot taller, right? So
Mm-hmm.
generally, that's what it would look like. So, but just because they're bots doesn't mean that they don't have proportions. They you would just base it on the head of it. Now, clockbots have different types of heads. Some of them are squat, some of them have like short
Mm-hmm.
heads. So it's different than humans because humans, we all have the same general, you know, basketball heads, right? Like this, like that's what we have, right?
Yeah.
Right?
Mhm.
Some of us don't use what's in that head, but that's what it is,
Whoa,
right?
Ooh.
whoa.
Just saying, just saying. I'm just saying, I'm just saying. So, that you can draw, and you can use proportions on anything. And animals. Your cat has proportions, right? Oscar, if you looked at him, I bet he's probably uh, based on his head. His head is he's so long, and his head is little, so he's
He's
probably
so long. Let me
yeah.
see if he'll let me pick him
Like
up.
let's
So
see him.
he's
Yeah.
So from if
he's
you were to
tall.
oh, he
Oh,
got embarrassed. He
buddy.
got embarrassed.
Oh,
I'm
Oh,
buddy.
sorry.
he got
I'm sorry.
embarrassed.
Don't be embarrassed.
Oh, that's
I'm
sad.
sorry.
He got
I'm
embarrassed.
sorry. He's
Oh.
long.
Oh,
I'm
that's
sorry.
you embarrassed him.
I'm sorry. He's
Oh
really
my,
long. That's
he's
all I'm
very
saying. He's
long.
oddly proportioned.
But you can use no. He's perfectly proportioned for cats.
Are
He's
you perfect?
perfect.
He's
I'm s-
perfect.
He's
I
Perfect.
totally
perfect.
embarrassed him. I'm
Perfect.
sorry. Mama, you showed my tummy to the whole world.
Oh, you
No.
cannot do that.
You showed
Kitty.
his peeps, his little peeps.
Oh, it's so cute. All right, so that's proportion. So I hope that you guys. A couple things before we end this particular session is, I think I had a note here. Some other of these rules that I wanted to tell you about. 90-degree arm length. Okay, never
Yeah.
mind. Um,
Oh, and sorry, if it's okay, I have one more contribution.
yeah, go for
Um,
it.
I was just gonna say that once you get it used to kind of, human proportions, how these things kind of work, if you have a character that has like different kinds of body parts, like if you have like a demon character who maybe has like a tail and horns, that also is going to kind of blend into
Yes,
this as
yes,
well.
yes, yes.
So it's one of those things where like get the basics down first, but then, I think it would be interesting at some point to do maybe like a different study on like, if like non-human characters or characters that have like non-human parts, kind of like looking at those proportions as well. Because I'm
That's
drawing
it.
a, demon character right now, which is why I'm thinking about
There
that.
was a Flux Destiny character fan who I was working with on this, and his character has kind of like reptile, like uh, dinosaur
Mm,
features, and with really big like dinosaur feet, and also had like really long tail. And we did exactly what you're talking about. Is when we were figuring out his character, I went in and used the head to show, okay,
mhm,
now we know going forward how long his tail always is. It's 3 heads long, right?
mhm,
And his feet are 1.5, 2 heads long, right? So using the head as a basis for um, all of like the features of the body will help you keep everything in mind. Just say, oh, right, his tail is 3 heads long, you know. So do
yep,
that with your characters. Take them and break them down into heads, and put it down on your own. And it doesn't have to be like some formal character sheet. Just do it for yourself, right? So that you always remember. So anyway,
absolutely.
yeah. So I think that was a good lesson. This is one of my favorite ones to teach because there's so much you can pick up and learn from this. A lot. This can have a major impact on your own designs uh, when you learn this and apply it to your work. Huge impact in what you do. So
Hmm.
Well, great. So this is the first lesson of day two, the day before our Kickstarter launch and the day before the end of the training arc. So this is a good fundamental. The next one is at 12:30 Central, so about in 2 hours, which is going to be all about drawing hair, which you can use this base. The base is on our free Patreon tier or in our Discord, so you can join either way. I'm going to put the link one more time to our Kickstarter launch page here in the description. If you haven't joined, please join. It actually helps boost our Kickstarter. Even if you already know you're going to join, you're like, I already know. It helps us get the word out and get it out to other people. And you can share it around too. And yeah, just stay tuned for the other fun stuff. I've already started getting posting stuff on our Discord art club channel. So I hope that if you're on the fence about joining, that our proportions talk and Long Oscar convince you that it's worth it.
Long Oscar.
Because we're going to be going
Oscar.
over all of this again in the course that we do. So that'll be a lot of fun.
Yeah, so don't go get the base, because you need the base for the next exercise, and that's the fun class. Remember, I'm letting you guys do all the icing and fun stuff during this, right? Like, we should really be doing structure, but I'm letting you do fun stuff like hair. So you want to go get that base on Patreon, and again, it's on the free tier, so just go get it from there or from the Discord. So go grab that. Ella,
hair is very fun.
Can we please see the cat? Like, the logo is covering him. Put him.
Oh my gosh, yeah, lift him.
Kitty.
Lift him a little bit.
Oh,
there he is. There he is.
Oh, Kitty. I can't.
He's the mascot.
These are just our friends. Mascot. You don't have to be embarrassed.
He's still embarrassed about earlier. Kitty.
Oh.
Look at that. Oh my gosh.
My heart.
Well, I had a great time with you guys. We'll see you in 2 hours for the next session.
Yay.
Same place. Everything on here on YouTube. Go get the head base from the free Patreon tier so you can join us and draw hair, because we're going to draw hair, and the hair class is a lot of fun. So today's a lot of fun stuff, so you better go grab that. And we'll see you guys in a couple hours. Bye.
Yay. Bye, guys.